Commander Jake Martinez stood in the main meeting hall of the Zephyrian homeworld, trying not to stare at the massive insect-like creatures across from him. Their black shells gleamed under the purple lights, and their forearms moved in strange patterns as they spoke. Jake had trained for this moment for 2 years, but nothing could have prepared him for actually meeting aliens. "Welcome to our world, humans," said the largest Zephyrian, its voice coming through the translation device, clipped to Jake's ear. "I am High Commander Vexstar. We are curious about your species." Jake smiled and stepped forward. "Thank you for having us. I'm Commander Jake Martinez of the Earthship Horizon. We're excited to learn about your people too." Behind him, his crew waited nervously. Dr. Lisa Harper clutched her medical bag, ready to help if anyone got hurt. Engineer Ben Carter kept looking at the strange alien technology around them. Communications Officer Amy Foster was recording everything for Earth to see later. The meeting had been going well for the first hour. They talked about trade, about sharing knowledge, about maybe becoming allies. But then something went wrong. Jake had reached out to shake hands with one of the smaller Zephyrians. On Earth, this was a normal greeting. But the alien jumped back like Jake had tried to attack it. It made a loud clicking sound that hurt Jake's ears. Threat display shouted, "High Commander Vexstar. The human shows aggression." "No, no, no," Jake said quickly, holding up his hands. "It's just a greeting. We shake hands to show we're friendly." But the Zephyrians didn't understand. They saw Jake's extended hand and open palm as a sign of attack. Their own greeting was to fold all 4 arms across their chest and bow their heads. Jake's human gesture looked like he was about to strike. More Zephyrians rushed into the room. They carried strange weapons that looked like silver tubes with glowing ends. The temperature in the room seemed to drop as everyone got ready to fight. "Please," Amy said, stepping forward. "This is just a misunderstanding. We didn't mean to offend you. Humans are violent," hissed another Zephyrian. "They came here to hurt us." Jake felt his heart racing. This was supposed to be a peaceful meeting. If it turned into a fight, it could mean war between humans and aliens. He had to fix this somehow. "We're not violent," he said, keeping his voice calm. "We came here in peace. We want to be friends." But it was too late. One of the younger Zephyrians, scared and angry, raised his weapon. The silver tube glowed bright red. "Look out!" Lisa shouted. The weapon fired. A beam of pure energy, hot as a star, shot across the room. It hit Jake right in the chest, burning through his uniform and into his body. The smell of burned cloth and flesh filled the air. Jake stumbled backward. He looked down at his chest and saw a hole the size of his fist. Smoke was coming out of it. His shirt was completely burned away around the wound, and he could see his ribs. The room went completely silent. Everyone stared at Jake, waiting for him to fall over dead. The Zephyrians had seen this weapon used before. It was designed to kill instantly. No living thing could survive a direct hit from a plasma lance. But Jake didn't fall down. He didn't scream. He didn't even seem very upset. He looked at the hole in his chest for a moment, then looked up at Lisa. "Hey, you got a Band-Aid? This stings a little." Lisa's mouth fell open. Ben stared in shock. Amy dropped her recording device. The Zephyrians were even more surprised. High Commander Vexstar's 4 arms started shaking. The young warrior who had fired the weapon made a sound like a broken whistle. "Impossible," Vexstar whispered. "No one survives the plasma lance. No one." Jake shrugged, which made the hole in his chest stretch a bit. "Well, I'm still here. Could really use that Band-Aid, though. And maybe some antiseptic. Don't want this to get infected." The Zephyrian who had shot him dropped his weapon and ran out of the room. 2 others followed him, making frightened clicking sounds. Lisa finally snapped out of her shock. She rushed to Jake's side, pulling medical supplies from her bag. "Jake, you should be dead. How are you still standing?" "I don't know," Jake said honestly. "It hurts, but not that bad." "I've had worse." "Worse?" Lisa stared at him. "Jake, I can. See your lung through this hole." Jake looked down again. "Oh yeah, that's pretty gross, but it's not bleeding much. I think it missed the important stuff." Dr. Kethvar, the Zephyrian doctor, came forward slowly. His bug-like eyes were wide with disbelief. "May I examine you, human? This should not be possible." Jake nodded. "Sure, Doc. Just be gentle." As Kethvar studied the wound, other Zephyrians whispered among themselves. Some were frightened. Others were amazed. All of them were confused. "The weapon hit his heart area," Kethvar said quietly. "The heat should have stopped his blood from flowing. The damage should have killed him in seconds." "But I'm fine," Jake said. "Well, mostly fine. Still could use that Band-Aid." High Commander Vextar stepped closer. "What are you, human? Are you some kind of machine?" "A robot?" Jake laughed, which made him cough a little. "Nope, just a regular guy from Earth, though I guess regular might be different for humans than for other species." The room filled with more confused whispers. If this was a regular human, what did that say about the rest of his species? Were they all this hard to kill? Lisa finally found a large bandage in her medical kit. She carefully placed it over Jake's wound, though it looked tiny compared to the damage. "There," she said. "One Band-Aid as requested." Jake grinned. "Thanks, see? Good as new." But as he looked around the room at the shocked faces of the Zephyrians, Jake realized that everything had changed. This wasn't just a diplomatic meeting anymore. Somehow, by not dying when he should have, he had started something much bigger. The question was, what would happen next? Dr. Kethvar could not sleep. For 3 days, he had been studying the human called Jake Martinez, and nothing made sense. The wound that should have killed him was healing faster than any injury Kethvar had ever seen. "Look at this," he said to Lisa Harper, pointing at the scanner readings. "Yesterday, the hole was 4 inches deep. Today, it's only 2 inches. How is this possible?" Lisa looked at the data on the alien medical equipment. She was learning to read Zephyrian symbols, but some things were clear in any language. Jake's body was repairing itself at an incredible speed. "Humans heal pretty fast," she said, "but this is faster than normal, even for us." "Fast?" Kethvar's 4 arms waved in disbelief. "This is impossible. A wound like this should take months to heal if the patient survived at all. Your friend will be walking around normally in a week." Jake was sitting on the medical bed, looking bored. The bandage on his chest was much smaller now. "Can I go back to my ship?" "I feel fine." "No," both doctors said at the same time. Outside the medical bay, news of the unkillable human was spreading through the Zephyrian fleet. Captain Zixtal, a tough old warrior with scars covering his black shell, listened to the reports with growing anger. "You're telling me," he said to his officers, "that our most powerful weapon did nothing to this human?" "The weapon worked perfectly." "Sir," said Commander Yexton, "it burned a hole right through him. But he just asked for a Band-Aid." Captain Zixtal slammed his fist on the table. "Impossible. I've seen plasma lances kill armored battle beasts. They've killed our strongest warriors. No soft creature like a human could survive one." "Perhaps," suggested another officer, "this human is not normal. Maybe he's some kind of super soldier, a weapon designed to look like a regular person." This made more sense to Captain Zixtal. Of course, the humans wouldn't send ordinary people to meet aliens. They must have sent their best warrior, probably enhanced with special technology or drugs. "We need to test more humans," he decided. Find out if they're all like this one, or if he's special. Back on the human ship Horizon, Ben Carter was working hard to fix the damage from the fight. Sparks flew from broken panels as he tried to get the engines running again. How much longer? Asked Amy Foster, checking her communications equipment. At least 2 days, Ben replied. Maybe 3. That energy blast didn't just hurt Jake. It messed up half our systems too. Amy nodded and went back to trying to contact Earth. She had been sending messages for days, but they were so far from home that it would take weeks for any reply to reach them. In the medical bay, Jake was getting restless. Come on, Lisa. I feel great. Better than I have in months. Lisa checked his vital signs again. His heart rate was normal. His blood pressure was good. His breathing was fine. If she didn't know better, she'd say he was in perfect health. The hole is still there, Jake, she said. I can see your ribs. Jake looked down at his chest. The wound was much smaller now, but she was right. Yeah, but it doesn't hurt. And look, it's getting smaller every day. Dr. Cuthbert was taking notes. Frantically. In my people, a wound continues to cause pain until it's completely healed. You're saying you feel no pain at all? Just a little soreness, Jake said. Like after a good workout. Fascinating. Cuthbert turned to Lisa. What is normal healing time for humans? Lisa thought about it. A cut this deep would usually take weeks to heal. A month, maybe 2. And that's with surgery and lots of medical care. And without medical care, it would probably get infected and kill him. Cuthbert's bug-like eyes widened. But he's healing without any medical care at all. Just that small bandage. That's not normal, Lisa admitted. Even for humans. What they didn't know was that Jake's body was doing exactly what it was designed to do. Humans had evolved on a planet where everything was trying to kill them. Their bodies had learned to heal quickly, to fight off infection, to keep working even when badly hurt. Other species had evolved on gentler worlds. The Zephyrians came from a planet with soft gravity and clean air. The worst thing that could hurt them was another Zephyrian. Their bodies were not built for the kind of damage that humans faced every day on Earth. Meanwhile, Captain Zixtal was putting his plan into action. His warriors hid near the human ship, waiting for crew members to come outside. Ben Carter was the first to leave the ship. He needed to gather some minerals from the planet's surface to help with repairs. As he worked with his scanner, looking for the right materials, Zephyrian soldiers surrounded him. Don't move, human, one of them said. Ben looked up to see 6 armed Zephyrians pointing their weapons at him. Great, he muttered. Jake's not going to like this. They also captured Rachel Green, a junior officer who had been collecting soil samples. She didn't fight back when they grabbed her. She knew that 6 armed aliens with energy weapons were not something she could handle alone. Both humans were taken to Captain Zixtal's ship, where the old warrior waited eagerly to test them. So, he said, looking at his prisoners, let's see how tough humans really are. Ben and Rachel were put in separate rooms. Captain Zixtal started with simple tests. He changed the air pressure in Ben's room, making it hard to breathe. Most species would pass out or die. Ben just got a headache. Interesting, Zixtal said. Try the next test. They made the room very hot, then very cold. Ben started sweating, then shivering, but he stayed conscious and alert. This is incredible, whispered one of the Zephyrian scientists. His body is adapting to conditions that would kill us. Rachel was having similar experiences in her room. They tested her with bright lights, loud noises, and strange chemicals in the air. She was uncomfortable, but she survived everything they tried. Report, Captain Zixtal demanded. Sir, said the head scientist, these humans are as durable as their companion. Perhaps more so. What do you mean? The female showed no pain response to stimuli that would cause agony in our species. The male continued to function normally in atmospheric conditions that would suffocate us. Captain Zixtel felt a chill run through his shell. If these were normal humans, not super soldiers, then Earth was home to a species that was naturally harder to kill than anything in the galaxy. Back in the medical bay, Jake was getting worse news. Dr. Kethvar had been sharing his research with other alien doctors across the galaxy. Their response was causing panic. "They're calling an emergency council meeting," Kethvar said. "Every species wants to know about human durability." "Why?" Jake asked. "It's not like we're trying to hurt anyone." "Because," Kethvar explained, "if humans are this hard to kill, it changes everything. Every species will want to know. Are you friends or enemies?" Jake sighed. He just wanted to go home and forget this whole mission had ever happened. But as he looked at the worried faces around him, he realized that going home might not be an option anymore. The galaxy had noticed humanity, and they were afraid. Steve Wilson had been a prisoner for 5 days, and he was getting annoyed. Not scared, not hurt, just annoyed. The Zephyrians kept trying to find ways to make him suffer, but everything they did felt like a minor inconvenience. "Try the pressure chamber again," Captain Zixtal ordered his scientists. "Double the force this time." Steve felt his ears pop as the air pressure changed. It was like being in a deep swimming pool, but he could still breathe and move normally. Through the thick glass window, he could see the Zephyrian scientists watching him with growing frustration. "This is getting ridiculous," Steve said to the microphone in his cell. "When can I go back to my ship?" The Zephyrians didn't answer. They were too busy staring at their instruments. The pressure in Steve's chamber was now high enough to crush most known life forms. But the human was just sitting there, looking bored. In the next room, Rachel Green was having her own problems. The aliens had put her in a chamber that was hot enough to melt metal. She was sweating heavily, but she was still conscious and talking. "Could you turn down the heat a little?" she asked. "I'm getting thirsty." Dr. Veltar, the Zephyrian scientist, in charge of the experiments, checked his readings 3 times. "The temperature is 200 degrees. She should be dead." "Maybe the instruments are broken," suggested his assistant. "I've checked them twice. They're working perfectly." Dr. Veltar looked at Rachel through the window. She was sitting calmly, wiping sweat from her face. "What kind of world do these humans come from?" The answer would have terrified him. Earth was a planet where the temperature could change by 100 degrees in a single day, where the air pressure could drop so low that blood would boil, where radiation from space constantly tried to kill every living thing. Humans had evolved to survive conditions that would instantly kill most galactic species. Back on the horizon, Jake was finally feeling better. The hole in his chest was now just a small pink scar. Dr. Kethvar measured it every few hours, amazed at how quickly it was shrinking. "In 2 more days, it will be completely gone," he told Lisa. "This is impossible, according to everything we know about biology." Lisa was studying the data on her tablet. "It's not impossible. It's just human." "What do you mean?" "Earth is a dangerous place," she explained. "We have earthquakes, hurricanes, volcanoes, diseases, poisonous animals, and radiation from space. Humans who couldn't heal quickly didn't survive long enough to have children." Kethvar's 4 arms trembled. "Your entire species evolved on a death world." "We just call it home," Lisa said with a shrug. Meanwhile, news of human durability was spreading across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. On the water world of Murloc, the aquatic Murloth people held emergency meetings in their underwater cities. "If these humans are so hard to kill," said Elder Muriex, "what happens when they decide they want our world?" "We must study them," replied Advisor Murtal. "Learn their weaknesses before they learn ours." On the crystal planet of Silkar, the rock-based Silkari species had similar concerns. Their bodies were made of living stone, but even they could be shattered by the right weapons. If humans could survive attacks that would kill Silkari, what did that mean for the balance of power? In the galaxy? Perhaps we should make contact, suggested Crystal Singer Silvex. Better to have them as allies than enemies. Or perhaps, said Warshaper Silkoth, we should destroy them before they become too powerful. The energy-based Vordon Empire was the most concerned of all. They were used to being the toughest species in the galaxy. Their bodies were made of pure energy, and they could survive in the vacuum of space. But humans seemed to be almost as durable, and there were billions of them. This cannot be allowed, declared Supreme Vordon Laxstar. These humans must be stopped before they spread across the galaxy. His generals agreed. We should strike now, while they are still weak and few. Back on the Zephyrian homeworld, Captain Zixtal was reaching the same conclusion. His experiments on Ben and Rachel had proven that all humans were incredibly tough. But they had also shown him something else. Look at this, he said to his officers, showing them a recording of Rachel solving a complex puzzle while sitting in the pressure chamber. She's not just durable. She's smart, adaptive. Even under stress, she thinks clearly. What about the male? Asked Commander Yexton. Even better, Zixtal replied grimly. He figured out how our atmospheric controls work just by watching us use them. Then he started giving us suggestions on how to improve them. The officers looked at each other nervously. A species that was both incredibly tough and highly intelligent was dangerous. Very dangerous. We need to report this to the Galactic Council. Zixtal decided. Let them decide what to do. But the Galactic Council was already in chaos. Representatives from dozens of species were arguing about the human threat. Some wanted to study them. Others wanted to worship them. A few wanted to destroy them before they became too powerful. The gentle healers of Paxton wanted to learn human medical techniques. The warrior clans of Krexvar wanted to test their strength against human fighters. The merchant guilds of Vexnari wanted to know if humans could be enslaved and used as workers. Order, shouted Council Leader Zarthex, a tall, thin being with purple skin and 6 eyes. We must discuss this calmly. There is nothing to discuss, growled General Mordak of the Krexvar. These humans are a threat to the natural order. They must be eliminated. They might be the key to immortality, argued Healer Paxvo. We should study them, not destroy them. They could revolutionize galactic trade, added Merchant Vexenol. Think of the profits from having indestructible workers. The arguing continued for hours. Nobody could agree on what to do about humanity. But everyone agreed on one thing. Humans. We're going to change the galaxy forever. On the horizon, Jake was finally allowed to return to duty. He put on a new uniform and looked at himself in the mirror. The scar on his chest was barely visible now, just a thin white line. Ready to go home? Amy asked, checking her communication equipment. More than ready, Jake replied. This whole trip has been one disaster after another. At least we made contact, Ben said, finishing his repairs. Even if it didn't go as planned. Yeah, Jake said quietly. I'm just not sure what kind of contact we made. He was right to be worried. Across the galaxy, military fleets were mobilizing. Science ships were being prepared. Diplomatic missions were being planned. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, the Vordon Empire was preparing for war. The humans had wanted to make friends with the galaxy. Instead, they had shown the galaxy that Earth was home to a species that was almost impossible to kill. Some aliens saw this as a wonderful opportunity. Others saw it as the greatest threat they had ever faced. As Jake looked out at the stars through the ship's window, He wondered if humanity would ever be able to find peace among the stars, or if their very existence would bring nothing but fear. And war to the galaxy. The answer would come sooner than he expected. The message came in the middle of the night, waking Jake from his sleep. Amy's voice crackled through the ship's communication system, urgent and worried. "Jake, you need to get to the bridge, now." Jake pulled on his uniform and rushed to the control room. Amy was staring at multiple screens, all showing different alien signals. Lisa and Ben were already there, looking confused and scared. "What's happening?" Jake asked. "The whole galaxy is talking about us," Amy said. "I'm picking up communications from dozens of species. Military channels, scientific networks, government frequencies. Everyone knows about humans now." Jake looked at the screens. Even though he couldn't understand the alien languages, he could see the images they were broadcasting. Pictures of him with the hole in his chest. Video of Ben and Rachel surviving the pressure tests. Medical scans showing human anatomy. "They're calling us the Death World species," Amy translated. "Some of them are fascinated. Others are terrified." "What does that mean for us?" Lisa asked. Before anyone could answer, the ship's sensors detected incoming vessels. Lots of them. Jake looked at the display and felt his stomach sink. There were at least 30 ships approaching, representing a dozen different species. "They're not attacking," Ben said, checking the weapon sensors. "But they're surrounding us." High Commander Vextar's voice came through the communication system. "Commander Martinez, please report to the planet's surface. The Galactic Council has requested an emergency meeting." Jake looked at his crew. They all knew this was bigger than just a diplomatic mission now. "Stay with the ship," he told them. "If something goes wrong, get back to Earth and warn everyone." "I'm coming with you," Lisa said. "Lisa, no. It's too dangerous. You're going to face the representatives of the entire galaxy," she replied. "You need backup. And if they want to study humans, they should meet more than just you." Jake wanted to argue, but he knew she was right. Together, they took a shuttle down to the planet's surface, where the largest gathering of aliens in galactic history was waiting for them. The meeting hall was enormous, filled with creatures Jake had never seen before. There were the insect-like Zephyrians he already knew, but there were also crystalline beings that looked like living rocks, floating energy creatures that glowed with their own light, and aquatic species in water-filled suits. "Welcome, humans," said Council Leader Zarthax. "We have many questions." 4. The next 6 hours, Jake and Lisa answered questions about humanity. They talked about Earth's dangerous environment, about human evolution, about their society and culture. They showed medical data, explained human physiology, and tried to convince the aliens that humans were not a threat. But the more they explained, the more worried the aliens became. "You're saying," asked Crystal Singer Silvex, "that all humans can survive injuries that would kill most of our species?" "Not all injuries," Lisa replied. "We can be killed. We're just harder to kill than you expected." "And there are billions of you on your homeworld?" asked Elder Mariax. "About 8 billion. Jake confirmed. The aliens looked at each other nervously. 8 billion nearly indestructible beings was a terrifying thought. "What are your intentions?" asked General Mordak. "Do you plan to expand across the galaxy?" "We just want to explore," Jake said, "to learn about other species, to make friends." "Friends don't usually survive plasma lance attacks," General Mordak replied grimly. The meeting was interrupted by an urgent communication from the edge of the star system. Scout ships reported that a massive fleet was approaching. The Vordun Empire had decided not to wait for the Council's decision. "They're coming to destroy the humans," announced Admiral Verkex, the Empire's representative. "The Vordun believe that humans are too dangerous to be allowed to live." Jake felt the temperature in the room drop. "We don't want to fight anyone." "It may not be your choice," said High Commander Vextar. "The Vordon fleet outnumbers all of our ships combined. If they attack, we may not be able to stop them." "Then we'll help," Jake said immediately. "You have one small ship," General Mordock pointed out. "What can you do against an entire fleet?" Jake looked around the room at all the worried alien faces. These beings were scared, not just of humans, but of each other. They had been fighting wars for thousands of years, never able to find peace because everyone was afraid of everyone else. "Maybe," he said slowly, "it's time for something different." "What do you mean?" asked Council Leader Zarthax. "You're all afraid of each other. You've been fighting for so long that you've forgotten how to work together. But right now, we have a common enemy. The Vordon want to destroy us all." Lisa caught on to what Jake was thinking. He's right. The Vordon see humans as a threat to their power. If they defeat us, they'll come for you next. "The humans are offering to fight beside us," Elder Mariax said in amazement, "even though they barely know us." "That's what friends do," Jake replied. "They help each other." The debate that followed was intense. Some species wanted to hand Jake and Lisa over to the Vordon and hope for mercy. Others wanted to fight, but weren't sure they could win. A few wanted to run away and hide. Finally, High Commander Vextar stood up. "The humans saved my life when..." Their commander survived an attack that should have killed him. They showed mercy when they could have shown anger. "I will fight beside them." One by one, other species agreed. The Murloth would provide underwater support. The Silkari would use their crystal technology to strengthen ship hulls. The gentle healers would tend to the wounded. Even some of the merchant guilds offered to help with supplies. "This is unprecedented," Council Leader Zarthax said. "Different species working together against a common threat. It could change everything. Or it could get us all killed," General Mordock added. But even he agreed to join the Alliance. As the meeting ended, Jake realized that something extraordinary was happening. For the first time in galactic history, dozens of species were working together instead of fighting each other. And it was all because humans had proven they were hard to kill. "You know," Lisa said as they walked back to their shuttle, "when we left Earth, we were supposed to be diplomats." "I think we still are," Jake replied. "Just not the kind anyone expected." Above them, the stars were filling with ships. The Vordon fleet was approaching, confident that they could destroy the humans and anyone foolish enough to defend them. But they were about to face something they had never encountered before, a united galaxy. And at the center of it all was Jake Martinez, a human who had asked for a Band-Aid instead of dying. His survival had started a chain reaction that would change the galaxy forever. The question was, would it be a change for the better, or would it lead to the greatest war the galaxy had ever seen? The answer would come soon enough. The Vordon fleet arrived like a storm of stars. 30 massive ships, each one crackling with deadly energy, dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. Their leader, Supreme Commander Verkala, had come personally to destroy the humans. "This is your final warning," his voice boomed across all communication channels. "Surrender the humans to us or face destruction." Jake stood on the bridge of the horizon, looking at the tactical display. The combined fleet defending them was impressive. Ships from 12 different species, all working together for the first time in galactic history. But the Vordon were powerful, and they had come prepared for war. "All ships, this is Commander Martinez," Jake said into his communicator. "I know you're all scared. I'm scared too. But we're not just fighting for humanity. Today, we're fighting for the idea that different species can work together." High Commander Vextar's voice came through the speakers. "The Zephyrian fleet is ready, Commander." Murloff submarines are in position, added Elder Maraix. Silkari crystal ships are charging their weapons, reported Crystal Singer Silvex. One by one, every species in the Alliance checked in. They were as ready as they could be. Supreme Commander Vorkala was not impressed. You think this ragtag collection of weak species can stop the Vordoon Empire? You are fools. The first attack came without warning. Beams of pure energy shot out from the Vordon ships, designed to vaporize anything they touched. The Alliance fleet scattered, using tactics they had never tried before. The Murloff used their underwater ships to attack from below the systems. Planets. The Silkari formed defensive walls with their crystal technology. The Zephyrians used their speed to dart between the massive Vordon vessels. But the Vordon were winning. Their weapons were too powerful, their ships too strong. One by one, Alliance vessels were being destroyed. We need to do something, Ben said, watching the battle from the horizon sensors. Like what? Amy asked. We're just one small ship. Jake looked at the tactical display and made a decision that would have seemed crazy to anyone else. We're going to ram the Vordon flagship. Jake, that's suicide, Lisa protested. No, Jake said calmly. That's human. Before anyone could stop him, Jake took control of the ship and flew straight at the largest Vordon vessel. The enemy ship's weapons fired at them, beam after beam of energy that should have destroyed the horizon instantly. But the human ship kept coming. Its shields failed, its hull was burning, and half its systems were offline. But Jake kept flying forward, heading straight for the Vordon flagship. Impossible, whispered Supreme Commander Vorkala. Nothing could survive that much damage. The horizon smashed into the side of the Vordon ship, ripping through its energy hull and lodging itself deep in the flagship's core. Alarms sounded throughout the Vordon fleet as their most powerful ship began to lose power. Jake and his crew were thrown around the bridge as the ship came to a stop. Emergency lights flickered and smoke filled the air, but they were alive. Hull. Breach on decks 3 through 7, Ben reported, blood running down his face. Life support is failing. We need to get to the escape pods, Amy said. No, Jake said, pulling himself up from the floor. We're not running. Jake, the ship is dying, Lisa said, checking her medical scanner. We need to evacuate. But Jake was already moving toward the airlock. The Vordon ship is damaged too. If we can get inside and disable their main weapon, the Alliance fleet might have a chance. His crew stared at him. You want to board an enemy ship while we're crashing into it? Why not? Jake shrugged. We've come this far. Before anyone could argue, Jake opened the airlock. The Vordon ship's hull was right there, torn open by the collision. Emergency force fields were keeping the air in, but Jake could see sparks flying from damaged systems. This is insane, Ben muttered, but he followed Jake through the hole in the wall. Lisa and Amy came too, carrying whatever medical supplies and equipment they could grab. If they were going to do something this crazy, they would do it together. The inside of the Vordon ship was chaos. Energy beings floated through the corridors, trying to repair the damage. They looked like living lightning, crackling with power and anger. When they saw the humans, they attacked immediately. Energy bolts shot toward Jake, each one powerful enough to kill any known life form. But Jake had been through this before. The bolts hit him, burned through his uniform, and left smoking holes in his body. But he kept walking forward. Stop them, screamed a Vordon officer. Kill the humans. More energy beings joined the fight. They surrounded the 4 humans, hitting them with everything they had. Lisa cried out as a bolt burned through her shoulder. Ben stumbled as another hit his leg. Amy's arm was nearly severed by a blast that would have cut most aliens in half. They kept moving. Burned, bleeding, and half dead, The humans fought their way through the Vordon ship toward the main weapon control room. "How are they still alive?" demanded Supreme Commander Volkala, watching the security feeds. "We've hit them with enough energy to destroy a battleship." His officers had no answer. They had never seen anything like this. The humans looked terrible. Their clothes were burned off, their skin was blackened, and they were bleeding from dozens of wounds. But they were still fighting. Jake reached the weapon control room first. The door was locked, but he simply punched through it, his fists smashing through metal that should have been impossible for organic beings to break. Inside, Vordoon technicians floated around a massive energy core that powered the ship's main weapon. When they saw the humans, they tried to stop them. But it was too late. Jake walked straight to the energy core, ignoring the bolts hitting him from all sides. He reached out and grabbed the main power coupling with his bare hands. Energy that flowed through the coupling was enough to power an entire city. It should have vaporized Jake instantly. Instead, he held on and pulled. "What are you doing?" screamed the Vordon chief technician. "Turning off your big gun," Jake replied, ripping the coupling out of the core. The main weapon went offline immediately. Throughout the Vordon fleet, similar weapons lost power as the flagship's energy grid collapsed. For the first time in the battle, the Alliance fleet had a real chance. "All ships attack now." High Commander Vexstar's voice rang out across the communication channels. The Alliance fleet struck back with everything they had. Without the Vordoon's most powerful weapons, the battle turned quickly. Zephyrian fighters swarmed the enemy ships. Merloth submarines attacked from unexpected angles. Silkari crystal weapons punched through Vordon hulls. But Supreme Commander Volkala was not finished. He gathered his remaining energy and flew toward the humans himself, intending to kill them personally. "You have destroyed everything," he snarled, his energy form crackling with rage. "But you will not survive to see your victory." He struck Jake with everything he had, pouring all his power into one final attack. The energy hit Jake like a star going nova, burning through him so completely that the Vordon ship's hull melted. Around them, when the light faded, Jake was still standing. His clothes were completely gone. His skin was blackened and smoking. There were holes burned completely through his body. But he was alive, and he was smiling. "Is that all you've got?" he asked. Supreme Commander Volkala stared in horror. "What? Are you?" "I'm human," Jake said simply. "We're hard to kill." The Vordon commander's energy form flickered and died, his power exhausted. Around them, the rest of the Vordon fleet was surrendering or retreating. The Alliance had won. Hours later, Jake sat in the medical bay of a Zephyrian ship, finally getting proper treatment for his wounds. Dr. Kethfer worked alongside Lisa, amazed once again at human resilience. "You should be dead," Kethfer said, applying regenerative gel to a hole that went completely through Jake's chest. "All of you should be dead." "Yeah," Jake agreed, "but we're not." "The Council wants to make you the official protector of the galaxy," Lisa told him. "They're offering humanity a permanent position as defenders of weaker species." Jake thought about it. "What do you think?" "I think," Lisa said, putting a fresh bandage on his arm, "that we've already been doing that job. Might as well make it official." The news from Earth arrived a week later. When humanity learned what had happened, there was celebration in every city. Their first contact with aliens had been a success, even if it hadn't gone according to plan. More human ships were already being prepared to join the galactic community. But now they would come as protectors and peacekeepers, not just explorers. Jake finally got back to his ship, looking at the massive hole where they had crashed into the Vordon vessel. Ben was working to repair it, whistling while he welded new hull plates into place. "How's it looking?" Jake asked. "Good as new," Ben replied. "Maybe better." I learned a few tricks from the Silkari engineers. Amy came up to them, carrying a small package. This came from the Galactic Council. She said. Jake opened it and laughed. Inside was a box of medical supplies, including a huge pack of bandages. Finally, he said, pulling out one of the bandages. Proper first aid supplies. He peeled off the old bandage that Lisa had given him days ago and replaced it with a new one. The wound underneath was almost completely healed, just a small pink line across his chest. You know, he said to his crew, when we left Earth, I thought the most dangerous part of this job would be